Hello, I'm going to talk about delegates and why the delegates are different from other type declarations and whatnot. So with delegates, you need to define your delegate type first. And this is not the same as defining a type in a class or a structure. You do it with one line. And all you need to specify is the name of the type and then the return type and its parameters. And that's about it. You can do this at namespace level if you want to. And I've defined my public delegate type here as getNumberDelegate, and it can create instances of itself, the hooks or invokers or whatever you want to call them. And these instances can point to methods that return an integer and accept an integer. If you try to point to something else, you'll get a compile error, and luckily it's not something that you'll come across in runtime. So here I'm declaring an instance of the delegate, and I'm just calling this instance getBigNumHook. So it's going to hook to big numbers. By the way, I don't have a naming convention for any of these delegates, but typically I'm going to be postfixing the delegate type name with the word delegate and having like a general idea of what it's doing. So it's pointing to delegates that get numbers. So it returns numbers, and in my case it accepts a number. I'm just accepting a number just for demonstration purposes. The method itself doesn't really do anything with this parameter, to tell you the truth. And you might want to postfix your delegate instances with the word hook or invoker or something, or handler, whatever you want. Okay, so here is the instance again, and you would create it like any other object, except you're going to pass in a method name. Even if it has parameters, you're just going to pass in the name. And when you want to invoke the method or call upon it, which is what you can do from anywhere as long as this delegate is available, you can simply call the invoke method of the delegate instance and pass in its parameters. And the invoke method is going to return the proper return type that the delegate type has knowledge of. And I'm converting the return integer to the text property here, just assigning it to the text property. And there's your ceiling value for the integer, which is what we want. You can also do things like begin invoke with callbacks. So you can invoke your method and pass in your parameters and specify a callback method, and you've got this object here, which I think is a state that you can hold. You have additional flexibility with delegates that are beyond the scope of this video as well. All you need to know is that it holds information about the parameter type and the return type. The delegate instances themselves hold information about the just the method name, like the call itself. If we didn't specify the types in the delegate type, we wouldn't be able to use this fancy invoke method to pass in our integer here. We are required to specify our typing ahead of time so that we can just use this and hook it up to appropriate methods. Of course, you're going to have preset delegates that point to commonly used or formats of methods. So you've got your, I think it's called method invoker, and that's going to point to methods that return void and take no parameters, which is very common. And then you've got your event handler. And usually when you're using this delegate type, you need to actually decorate it with the event keywords, which is going to give it a bit different behavior. But you can simply point to events if you want, using instances of this event handler type if you please, without using the event keyword. But I don't think you will be able to subscribe and unsubscribe to this event properly if you don't actually use that keyword. If you're wondering what this delegate type here with the capital D is, I think it's just the base of all the delegate types that you declare. and it's abstract, so you're not going to be able to create an instance of it, but I do believe you can use these static helpers here to do stuff, though you probably won't need to ever use these. That's all I have to say about delegates. See you later.